we are required to protect and preserve. And so that's why the Constitution itself, the Founding Fathers put it in Article 6, that each of us in government at every level must swear an allegiance to the Constitution. I will say that there is no organized effort to get the sheriffs of this country opposed to what we're doing or to side with Barack Obama. We had one misguided sheriff in Ada County, Idaho, who says, well, look, you sheriffs are kind of really out there in left field because...
Yeah, and that brings me to my next question, because there are a few county sheriffs who have publicly committed to enforcing any laws or executive orders that would involve new firearms restrictions at the federal level. One of them, you mentioned Sheriff Gary Rainey of Idaho's Ada County. This is how he summarized his position. He said, I did not swear to uphold just part of the Constitution. Our Constitution includes the right to keep and bear arms, but it also includes the Supremacy Clause that says that every state shall abide by the laws passed by our Congress. So despite the fact, right, these are his points. How do you respond to that?
He needs to read the Supremacy Clause. It doesn't say that. And if you're going to start quoting the Supremacy Clause, you better quote it exactly as it's written. And for him to pretend to you or to me or the American people or the people in his county that the Supremacy Clause allows the federal government to do anything they want, and that it grants carte blanche and destroys the 10th Amendment and destroys all other checks and balances and destroys the principle of enumerated and discrete powers, which was reinforced by my Supreme Court decision written by Justice Scalia. For him to ignore a Supreme Court case won by other sheriffs and other colleagues of his, and for him to ignore the part of the Supremacy Clause, if he ever has even actually read it, which I doubt, because he's really showing a lot of ignorance here. Because the Supremacy Clause is only grants supremacy to treaties and laws made by the federal government if they are in pursuance of the Constitution. So if that criteria is met, then supremacy is granted to the federal government. But if they just start making every law and passing every bureaucratic regulation they want without any deference to the Constitution itself and to the limitations expressed within the Bill of Rights, well, he's wrong.
So basically, what you're saying is that the federal government, or Congress, if they pass laws that are in contrast to the Constitution, then basically the Supremacy Clause is null and void.
It's null and void, and they're no law at all. And they cannot pass a law saying that, well, let's just look at the Second Amendment. They cannot pass a law saying, we can violate the Second Amendment rights all we want, and therefore the Second Amendment no longer exists. According to them, and according to what Sheriff Rainey is saying, that would be lawful, and that everything they do becomes the part of the supremacy. Well, our decision even states that the counties and cities and states share in the supremacy of this country. And so the federal government does not possess all supremacy.
You're speaking of the 10th Amendment?
Of course, the 10th Amendment and the 9th Amendment. And if as our case says, the states retain an inviolable sovereignty, and if you look at the history of our country, who is it that formed the federal government? The 13 original states formed the federal government. And then they, according to the 10th Amendment, delegated to the federal government certain powers. They didn't surrender. They didn't say, okay, now we just got rid of King George III, that little young tyrant, and now we want to form another federal government that's going to completely control every facet of our lives and our land and our water and our education and our taxes and everything. No, the states did not do that. Sheriff Rainey has to know better than that, and if he doesn't, he's quite clear showing a lot of ignorance.